right, so we're ready here. I'm going to get my Chromebook going. So today we are going to go back to Google Chrome, which we were, not Google Chrome, sorry, Google Keep, which we have looked at before. But if you will go ahead and click on this link that is listed in Echo, that is going to take you back to Google Keep. You all have seen this before, and hopefully you all have been keeping up with your Google Keep. If you haven't, that's okay. But we're going to start kind of enforcing that you do that, okay? So I'm opening up my Google Keep, and what I want you all to do today, let's go back to the agenda and look at this. It says, update your Google Keep to-do list and submit a screenshot, okay? So if you see your World Studies, you have two options. You can see your World Studies and it has a bunch of stuff listed on there that's really old. Now, if you're keeping up with your Google Keep and you're like, hey, I look at this thing often and it's up to date, you're good, okay? Actually, it's going to be really easy for you to do this. But if you're looking at it and it's talking about like projects like a few weeks ago or a month ago, because I haven't forced y'all to do this in a while, but now that we're together, Ms. Stockdale and I were talking, we were like, this would be a good time to get them back on track of making that to-do list, okay? So if you have the really old one, you have two options. One, you can just check off everything that's on there and kind of start fresh, or you can go down to the bottom and click and say delete note and start all over. I'm going to show you from the get-go how to do one and get started from the get-go. This is what you want yours to look like today, okay? It's already done, but I'm going to kind of show you. If you are starting fresh, you're going to go up. Don't hit take a note. Hit this little new list button. It's a little check mark. That'll make you a to-do list. So click that new list, and that'll pop up, and then you want to title it World Studies, just like I did below. And then you're going to start on your first list item. Now, here's my goal. My goal is for you to every day, this is the first thing you do when you start my class, is go to your Google Keep, and we're going to, for the next few days of class, I'm going to make you do this, okay? So you can get into the habit of it and see it doesn't take that much longer, and it helps you to stay organized, okay? And actually makes you think, what do I need to do? So the first thing is you just come over here and you can be like, okay, what do I have to add to my to-do list that I need to get done in the next couple of days? Okay, and you can literally just copy and paste from your agenda. So this one, it says update your Google Keep to-do list and submit a screenshot. So I'm just going to go in so everybody can be on their agenda right now. And you can highlight that first thing that we're going to do that you know, in that parentheses, I say do today. You know, as your teacher, as your facilitator, that's how I do things. I always kind of put in parentheses when things are due. And I'm going to copy that. So I hit Command Copy, or I think y'all Control Copy or whatever. I'm going to go back to Google Keep, and on that first list item, I'm going to paste it in, okay? And then I can shorten it if I want to. Like I can get rid of where it says turn it in here, you know. But what I want to make sure to keep is what it is and when it's due, okay? And you see how in the parentheses it says due today. Now, I also want to change the date, okay? Because let's say something happens and I get called out of class earlier. If I don't get that done, I might have to look at it later or maybe tomorrow and be like, when was that due? It says due today. Was that today or yesterday? So I'm going to actually put in the date. And the date today is 10/20, okay? So October 20th is when it's due, okay? So that's one thing I need to do. I'm going to click on the next item. I'm going to go back to World Study. Actually, I'm going to slow down. Let you get there. So you're going to go back to World Studies agenda, and you're going to get that. Look at the agenda the rest of the way. So it says continue work on no rating practice Thamos due Thursday. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this and say, okay, I need to put that I have to do no red ink. Take this in here, copy and paste it. Now, what's special about no red ink? Is it all just one assignment? No. How many different no red inks are there with this Thamos thing? 6. You know there are 6. Now you can go to no red ink and check that, but you already know this by now. There are 6. So I'm going to actually put practice. And I'm going to copy that because I'm going to do 6 practices that I need to get complete. Practice 1, command paste. Practice 2, command paste 3. Yes, I want you to do it today, just so you can So the question was, if we've already finished these practices, like if I've already finished practice 1 and practice 2, do I need to put it on my list? Go ahead and do it today because I want to see you have everything on there. And then there's also this like part of checking off the box and saying, I'm done with this. That feels really good. Okay. And I'm looking around at a couple of people in the room that aren't really doing much right now. Like I should see you vigorously making this happen. Okay. Austin, you got this? Okay. Practice 5. Practice 6. So we got our 6 practices in there. You can also drag these over. Or let me slow down. Get those 6 practices in there. Right. So Wyatt asked, what if I don't have to do the practice? Like you got a 90 or better on the diagnostic, for example. Okay. Then I would just put work on no red ink practices, and then I would just hit the check mark on that one. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, this is the practice we're doing right now, Thamos. Now, once you have all your practices in there, you see these little 6 dots that are popping up? You can grab those and drag them over, and it will go underneath no red ink. So everybody take a second, drag them over. And right now this is taking a really long time because we're all doing it together, and I'm slowly going through it and showing you how to do it. Whenever you do this every day and you're updating every day, you're only going to put like 2 or 3 things in there every day. So it should become much, much faster for you, okay? All right, so you got all your practices there. If we go back to World Studies, we're just going to continue going. Okay, it says we need to finish reading section 2 and section 3 of the Odyssey. So I'm going to grab that. So we need to have that read. I'll put that as another list item. Just copy and paste. And that is due today. So due 10/20. And I didn't put that into the agenda that it was due because you don't have to submit anything, but you need to have it done. And I will take it up at the end of the reading. So just make sure that's done. So finish reading section 2 and 3 of the Odyssey. And then the last thing that we're going to be doing today, that's actually due tomorrow, is the assignment Civilization Religious Research Workshop. And I had that on there yesterday, but we just didn't get to it because of pictures. So works out that we're putting it on there today. So I'm just copying and pasting. And then I want to change that due tomorrow to do and put the actual date in there, 10/21. Okay? And you all have to get better at looking at the calendar and thinking about due dates on a calendar, okay? If you're not really familiar or used to doing that, this helps by putting in the due dates, okay? What's that? So you can see I'm done now. Now you can close that. And you can see both of these are the same exact. I just wanted to work. I'm going to get rid of one of them. Don't delete yours. But now I have this. So what I want you to do now is, can you finish one of these right now? Yeah, so it's the first one. Update your Google Keep and submit a screenshot here. So I'm going to go back to Echo. And if you click on that here button, it will take you to the assignment. And it says, update your Google Keep and submit a screenshot to the Dropbox, okay? So we're going to go to the Google Keep, and you all know how to take screenshots, or you should. I think it's Shift or Control Shift F4, is that right? Or no?
Go to the bottom, you click that little pencil next to the thing.
Yeah.
It says capture screen.
Right. So Jackson says the easiest way to do is go down bottom right. There's a little pencil. Click on that, and then it says capture screen. Hit that right there, and then you're going to go into Echo. And y'all should be doing this in your math class. Yeah, that's easy. Y'all should be doing this in your math classes. So you're going to go down and click And I'll go into student view here. Let me do that. That way y'all can see how to do this. So this is my fake student account. And if I click here, it'll take me in and I can go to add an attachment, attach a file, and then choose. And then on your computer, you can go to your photos and it should be the newest photo under there. I have an Apple, so it's not going to look exactly the same. But long story short, that is how you submit that. So I'm going to give you all a couple minutes to get that submitted. And we'll be doing this throughout this week. So there'll be 2 more times after today, Thursday and Friday, that we do this, just to get you all in the habit. And I already see that 27 of you have submitted it. Perfect. And once you submit it, this is the best part. And there's been studies shown that there are actual like endorphins that get set off. And you know what endorphins are? It's basically that chemical in your brain that gets released whenever you're happy. Okay, it makes you feel good. You accomplish something, and an endorphin gets shot into your brain. It's like a reward. It's like a survival thing where it's like you do something, your brain is telling you, you did a good job, way to go. So clicking a to-do list or checking off something on a to-do list actually releases endorphins. Okay, it's been shown in chemical brain studies that so that's one really positive of doing to-do list. So we know we can click off that once you submitted it, update your Google Keep, we can click that and boom, it's gone off our to-do list, weight off our shoulders, it's done. The next thing you can do is say, okay, what practices have I finished? If you finished, so hopefully yesterday you jumped into it and you got to finish at least the first practice. So let's click off that first practice. Maybe you finished the first 2 practices. I don't know. Whatever it might be. Go ahead and click off those first couple, okay? And then you can step back and say, okay, so what do I need to do for world studies by tomorrow? Okay, I need to maybe get a couple more of these practices done, make at least one of them. And then I need to do the reading today and that religious research, okay? And you can kind of see down here where we're checking off those items, okay? So keep that up to date. Keep it open. You can hit the star button if you want to, because that's something we're going to be going back to. And hopefully you start using for all your classes. Hit that star button, and that just put it in your Google Keep, your bar. Mine's all the way down here because I have a ton of things bookmarked. But have him go ahead and just share his with me. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you. If anyone else has issues submitting, please let us know, and we'll get that figured out. Is it unable to submit the picture? Is that the issue? Yeah. So if it's not able to submit for you, share it with me. And the way you do that, and I'll show everybody how to do that. You just go to the actual world studies, and you're going to click down here. If you've submitted it to Echo, you do not need to do this. But if you are having trouble submitting it, hit more, and then let's see here. Oh, no, not more. Sorry. It's this little plus sign here. Collaborator. Hit collaborator right here. And then you can person to or email. So john.richard. And it should pop up for you at owensboro.kyschools.us. And I've already had people share it with me, so it's working. So awesome. So I'm going to cancel out of that because I don't want to send it to myself. And then you close out. That way, okay, yeah, I got people's popping up. I'll make sure to look there, and we'll look into why that's not working. So, okay, so that done. We're going to go over to World Studies. Let's see what else we're going to be doing today. So the next thing on our list is to continue to work on No Red Ink practice Thamos, which is due Thursday, and the quiz is Friday. So let's head over to No Red Ink. So everyone should do that. And I'm going to give you all, because you had an extended time yesterday because of pictures and things like that. Everybody should have gotten a really good jump on No Red Ink. So we're going to do about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes today. and I will go over this with you. So go ahead and jump into No Red Ink. If I view this as a student, and you're going to be doing the practice, Thamos practice. Okay? So here's something else I want to remind you. I talked to a student yesterday, and the student walked in and was like, I really like No Red Ink. And I was like, why do you like No Red Ink? What do you like about it? And he's like, it's self-paced. Okay? And I was like, well, explain to me what you do that helps you to be able to be self-paced. And he's like, I always look at the lessons. He's like, I look at the lessons, I make sure I understand it before I even get started, because he said that last year they had a math program that was very similar. I think it was math. But anyways, that if you miss questions, it took longer. So make sure you understand what's going on before you start. So look at those lessons, okay? Yes, that's what the student was talking about, yeah. So what we're looking at are thymoses are conjunctive adverbs. Okay, I'm zooming in here so you can see a little bit better. Conjunctive adverbs. Okay, and there are 5 of them, and it's actually what thamos actually spells out. So therefore, however, also, meanwhile, otherwise. Okay, so we've been working with commas. We've been working with how to have complete thoughts, complete sentences, where to put our punctuation. So this is one of those that we really need to work on, okay? So there's a couple of rules here. So let's look at these really quick before we start. And it says there are special adverbs that show the relationship between 2 complete thoughts, okay? So right here it says Will forgot it was Halloween. That's a complete thought that can stand alone, but Will forgot it was Halloween. Therefore, comma, his teacher's mask confused him. They can be found in the front, middle, or back of a complete thought. So you find them in the middle like this one, at the end, or at the front of a complete thought. Although this looks like it's in the middle, it's actually at the front. And it says, Benjamin painted the fence, semicolon, I, comma, meanwhile, comma, made lemonade. Okay? So you can see that there's commas around this thamos because it doesn't have to be there. Okay? You can actually take it out and you can just say, I made lemonade. That's just a complete thought, complete sentence. I made lemonade. Okay? But you put the thamos in there and you surround it by commas. The second one is you put it at the end. Michael wants to go to Disneyland. Tickets are sold out today, comma, however. Okay? So you put a comma around it right here. Or you can put it at the beginning, otherwise, comma, he'll miss the party. So you can see that these thamos are surrounded by commas depending on where they are in the sentence, okay? So let's go look at a practice, and I'll work through this practice with you for just a second just to get you kind of the ball rolling, and then I'll let you all work. So it says, Senna was late getting to the airport, semicolon, however, comma, the pilot held the plane for him. So you probably haven't seen semicolons very often, okay? But they're a way to break 2 complete thoughts up when using a thamos, okay? Or like, however. So Senna was late getting to the airport is an independent clause complete thought, okay? I can walk up to you and just say, Senna was late getting to the airport, and you understand what I'm saying, okay? It can stand alone, okay? But we add on to that, and we're kind of adding this thamos to add more information. So we use a semicolon and say, however, comma, the pilot held the plane for him, okay? So you can see that all it wants us to do is find the thamo. So this is actually really easy. All we're doing is clicking on the thamo. Okay. Hey, listen up. This is a fire drill. Pause. We're going to head out this door and then we're over to the park lot. Hold on. Hold on. All right, go.
Students, we're having a drill, so we'll be back shortly.
you have made a Google Keep checklist. Remember the Google Keep checklist?
Yeah.
And you were just updating it. Yes. All right, I apologize. We had a fire drill. We are back in and ready to hit the ground running with no red ink. So this first one's very easy. You're just looking for that Thamos, therefore, however, although, moreover, otherwise. So we're just finding those. But I wanted to point out the fact that when it's in the this is actually not the center. It's at the beginning of this second part. However, the pilot held the plane for him. The pilot held the plane for him is a complete thought. So we can put it at the beginning. Now, the big difference here is with a semicolon, you can also put a period there, okay? So you could put either. The only difference is you would capitalize however. But on these, all we're doing is finding the Thamo. So we can go through this quite quickly. And you're just looking for it. And I can, without even reading the sentence, I can see otherwise is right there. It's surrounded. That's it. So I'm going to let you all work on this. If you need help with specific sections, let me know. If you're getting stuck, let me know. Or Miss Stockdale, and we'll make sure to help you guys out. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes at this point to get this going. Thanks. Got excited about helping people with no red ink, so we are ready to move on now. Which are only 2 minutes past what I said, so that's okay. So we are going to get our Odyssey reading out. So you need your packet. So if you're in the room, get your Odyssey reading out in front of you. If you do not have your Odyssey reading for some reason in Echo, under the Odyssey packet, and I'll show you it here. You go to the project. Under the Odyssey materials, you'll see there is a digital version, but I want you using your hard copy version to take notes as I take notes and to keep up with what's going on so you can turn this in at the end. Also, I'm going to tell you all this. At the end of this, we are going to have a quiz over what happened in the Odyssey. You can use your paper, okay? But it'll be timed, so it'll be much easier if you're writing it, finding information, and answering questions. Let me get this pulled up. Everybody should have their paper out in front of them, ready to take notes. Oh. Huh, why is that not working? Yeah, I'm doing the microphone, aren't I? Thank you. So where we left off is we were talking about Odysseus and his men landing or approaching the island of the Cyclops, okay? And the last thing that we read, I'll go back just to kind of get us where we need to be. We were talking about this place is a paradise, okay? This is a paradise. Easy for planting crops. There's food everywhere. Humans don't really visit it. As far as food and resources and what you need to survive, it is really, really a wonderful place, okay? When we flip over, this is Odysseus's and his men's approach to the island. So let's read that. Here we landed, and surely a god steered us in through the pitch black night. Not that he ever showed himself with the thick fog swirling around our ships, the moon wrapped in clouds, and not a glimmer stealing through that gloom. So could they see as they were coming in? No. And who does Odysseus kind of give credit to for helping them make it in safely? The gods. So Odysseus thinks the gods are helping. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to put a big question mark. Because has Odysseus been getting help from the gods? No. So this is kind of like this this moment where Odysseus thinks there's hope. We found this great place with all this wonderful stuff. Maybe the gods are helping me. But as the reader, do we believe this? No, we have doubts, okay? Because we've seen it time and time again that Odysseus keeps making mistakes and things keep getting bad for him, okay? Not one of us glimpsed the island scanning hard or the long combers rolling us slowly toward the coast, not till our ship had run their keel ashore, beaching our vessel smoothly, striking sail. The crews swung out on the low shelving sand, and there we fell asleep, awaiting dawn's first light. So they land on the island. So they officially have made it to the Cyclops' home island, okay? And they have landed there. And if you all want to move over here, I don't mind if you sit up here for this duration. But if you're good there, that's fine. Yeah, okay. I'll scoot back just a little bit. All right, sorry. So, continue on. When young dawn with her rose-red fingers shone once more, we all turned out intrigued to tour the island. We've heard this saying again and again. When young dawn with her rose-red fingers shone once more. What are they talking about? The sun. When the sun rises, okay? So the sunrise. So when the sun rises, or when the dawn, young dawn, with her rose-red fingers shone once more, we all turned out intrigued to tour the island. The local nymphs. So this word here, nymphs, it means like guides that kind of show you the way. And Odysseus means this as kind of like a spiritual thing, like something's like providing for us. The local nymphs, the daughters of Zeus himself, flush mountain goats so the crews could make their meal. So again, Zeus is starting to be happy with, or Odysseus thinks, is Zeus happy? Question mark. Is he helping them? Quickly, we fetched out our curved bows and hunting spears from the ships, and splitting up into 3 bands, we started shooting, and soon enough, some god had sent us bags of game to warm our hearts. A dozen vessels sailed in my command, and to each crew 9 goats were shared out, and mine alone took 10. So how many vessels, how many ships did he have in his crew, in his grouping? A dozen, so 12. So if we do the math over here, 12 ships, and each of those took 9. So 11 times 9 is 99, plus his took 10. So how many ships did they bag? How many did they kill? 109 sheep. Or goats, sorry, I say sheep, but goats. Goats, 109 goats. Is Odysseus suffering? No, they are taking every advantage of this island, right? Then all day till the sun went down, we sat and feasted well on sides of meat and rounds of heady wine, so strong wine. The good red stock in our vessels' holds had not run out. There was still plenty left, so plenty of wine for them to drink. The men had carried off a generous store in jars when we stormed and sacked the Cicones, holy city. Now we stared across the Cyclops shore, so near we could even see their smoke, hear their voices, their bleating sheep and goats. So they are close. I'm sorry, I'm way down here. Sorry. They are close to the Cyclops. Okay, so they are not far from actually kind of running into the Cyclopses. Okay, And then there is something to note here. Actually, we'll come back to it. And then when the sun had set and night came on, we lay down and slept at the water shelving edge. When again we see this, when young dawn with her rose-red fingers shone once more, I called a muster briskly, commanding all the hands, the rest of you stay here, my friends in arms. I'll go across with my own ship and crew and probe the natives living over there. What are they? Violent, savage, lawless, or friendly to strangers, God-fearing men? So they set out to meet the Cyclops. Okay, so him and his men head out to meet the Cyclops. Okay, but there's this understanding that if you're, Greek understanding that if you're out moving around and exploring, that they should be hosts to you and take care of you. With that, I boarded ship and told the crew to embark at once and cast off cables quickly. They swung aboard, they sat to the oars in ranks, and in rhythm churned the water white with stroke on stroke. What does it mean to churn the water white with stroke on stroke? Has anyone ever been in a boat before and paddled?
When water gets kind of like stirred up, it turns white with all the bubbles and stuff.
Yeah,
so they churned the water until it was white with stroke on stroke.
So, William, does that mean they're going slow or fast?
Fast, definitely.
Yeah. So they're really stroking the water hard and making it turn white and bubbly, and they're moving really fast. But soon, as we reached the coast, I mentioned no long trip. We spied a cavern just at the shore, gaping above the surf, towering, overgrown with laurel. That's like a plant. Laurel's like a plant. And here, big flocks of sheep and goats were stalled to spend the nights. And around its mouth, a yard was walled up with quarried boulders, sunk deep in the earth, and enormous pines and oak trees looming darkly. So they're describing the Cyclops' home. So there's these giant trees, goats everywhere, lots of plants. Here was a giant's lair, in fact, who always pastured his sheep flocks far afield and never mixed with others, a grim loner, dead set in his own lawless ways. Here was a piece of work, by God, a monster built like no mortal who ever supped on bread. No, like a shaggy peak, I'd say a man mountain rearing head and shoulder over the world. So he's describing, kind of hinting at what the Cyclops is. And what is the Cyclops? Is he the size of a normal man? No, what is he? He's a giant, okay? A giant Cyclops, okay? So as he's telling the story, and remember, technically he's still sitting in the halls of Alcinous telling the story, and this is kind of like a flashback. He's talking about this giant Cyclops. Now then, I told most of my good, trusty crew to wait, to sit tight by the ship and guard her well while I picked out my dozen finest fighters. So he's going to take about a dozen men, his finest fighters. So he's going to take about 12 men, and off I went. But I took a skin of wine along. Now this is important, okay? I took a skin of wine along, the ruddy, irresistible wine that Maron gave me once, Theseus' son, priest of Apollo, lord of Ismarus. So this is the island that they attacked at the beginning, because we rescued him, his wife and children, reverent as we were. So he brings strong wine. We're going to find out later this is important, okay? That he actually grabbed that and remembered to grab it, okay? He lived, you see, in Apollo's holy grove, and so in return he gave me splendid gifts. He handed me 7 bars of well-wrought gold, A mixing bowl of solid silver. Then this wine. So this wine that he's mentioning, he got from this gentleman. He drew it off in generous wine jars, 12 in all unmixed, in such a banquet, a drink to fit the gods. So unmixed means it's very strong wine. A very strong wine. All right, flipping over. No maid or man of his household knew that secret store, only himself, his loving wife, and a single servant. Whenever they drink the deep red mellow vintage 20. Okay, so this is big too. So he's still talking about this wine that he got from the Kikones, but whenever they drink the deep red mellow vintage, 20 cups of water he'd stir in one wine, and what an aroma wafted from the bowls. What a magic, what a godsend. So it's so strong that it took 20 cups of water to make it drinkable. So you can mix a cup of that wine with 20 other cups of water, and that would barely make it drinkable. Okay, so strong wine. Okay, and it's like, why? You think about this as you're reading it, you're like, why is he going on and on about how strong this wine is? But we're going to find out later. No joy in holding back when that was poured, filling a great goat skin. Now I took this wine, provisions too, in a leather sack. A sudden foreboding told my fighting. Okay, so a sudden foreboding told my fighting spirit I'd soon come up against some giant clad in power like armor plate, a savage death to justice, blind to law. Okay, so this is foreshadowing. Shadowing. Let me rewrite that. Foreshadowing a fight. So it's hinting toward a fight that is going to happen. Now that's into section 2. We're going to keep reading through section 3 today because we kind of gotten behind and want to get caught back up. So let's keep reading. Our party quickly made its way to his cave, but we failed to find our host himself inside. He was off in his pasture ranging his sleek flocks, so we explored his den, gazing wide-eyed at it all, the large flat racks loaded with drying cheeses, the folds crowded with young lambs and kids split into 3 groups. Here the spring-born, here the mid-yearling, here the fresh suckling off to the side. So those are all about the goats, like the baby goats, the big goats, the mommy, daddy goats, whatever. Each short was pinned apart, and all his vessels, pails, and hammered buckets he used for milking were brimming full with whey. Whey is like a type of milk. From the start, my comrades pressed me, pleading hard, let's make away with these cheeses, then come back. Hurry, drive the lambs and kids from the pens. Hurry, drive the lambs and kids from the pens to our swift ship, put out to sea once more. But I would not give way. So what did his men want to do? They wanted to steal it. Steal men. So we'll say his men. His men wanted to steal from the Cyclops. Does that go along with the understandings of Greek culture? No, okay? Odysseus is going to stand up to this, okay? But I would not give way. How much better it would have been not till I saw him, saw that what gifts he'd give, but he proved no lovely sight to my companion. So Odysseus says, no, we're not going to steal, but we're going to go ahead and take, sit here and eat his food and eat the Cyclops' stuff, which is, we're going to talk about in a second. So there we built a fire. Sorry, let me get to the right spot here. There we built a fire, set our hands on the cheeses, offered some to the gods, and ate the bulk ourselves, and settled down inside, awaiting his return. and back he came from the pasture late in the day. So Odysseus, although he doesn't steal it, what does he do? He still eats it. Eats the Cyclops food. So he still eats the Cyclops' food. He's still taking from the Cyclops, which this is kind of a, in the story, Odysseus' wife, what is she doing at home? What are all these men trying to get her to do? Marry them. Okay, so those men are showing up at Odysseus' home and taking his food and his wine and his belongings. So it's kind of a ironic thing that Odysseus is out at the Cyclops' cave taking his belongings. So it's kind of a irony there. Let's keep going. Of good dry logs to fuel the fire at supper, he flung them down the cave. So the Cyclops is back. He flung them down in the cave, a jolting crash. We scuttled in panic into the deepest dark recess. So this giant comes back to the cave. And next he drove his sleek flocks into the open vault. All he'd milked at least, but he left the males outside, rams and billy goats, out in the high-walled yard. Then, to close his door, he hoisted overhead a tremendous, massive slab. No 22 wagons, rugged and four-wheeled, could budge that boulder off the ground. So Odysseus' men are what in this cave? They're trapped. They are trapped in this cave. They are not going to be able to escape because this giant boulder just got moved. So Odysseus and his men are trapped. I tell you, such an immense stone the monster wedged to block his cave. Then down he squatted to milk his sheep and bleating goats, each in order, and put a suckling underneath each dam. So suckling under each dam just means like a baby goat under each like mom goat. And half of fresh white milk he curdled quickly, set aside in wicker racks to press for cheese. The other half let stand in pails and buckets, ready to hand and to wash his supper down. As soon as he briskly finished all his chores, he lit his fire and spied us in the blaze. And he said, "Strangers," he thundered out, "now who are you? Where did you sail from over the running sea lanes? Out on a trading spree or roving the waves like pirates, sea wolves raiding all at will, or who risk their lives to plunder other men?" So the Cyclops sees them. So the Cyclops sees the men and asks them, "Why are they doing here? What are they doing?" The hearts inside us shook, terrified by his rumbling voice and monstering hulk. Nevertheless, I found the nerve to answer firmly. "Men of Aegea, we are and bound now from Troy, driven far off course by the warring winds, over the vast gulf of the sea, battling home on strange tack, a route that's off the map, and so we've come to you. It must please King Zeus's plotting heart." So he kind of realizes now, I've been tricked. Zeus brought me to this wonderful place, this wonderful island, and my adventurous heart drove me and took me to this Cyclops cave. So King Zeus's plotting heart has trapped me in this cave. We're glad to say we're men of Atrides Agamemnon, whose fame is the proudest thing on earth these days. So great a city he sacked, such multitudes he killed. But since we've chanced on you, we're at your knees in hope of a warm welcome, even gifts. So he's hoping that the Cyclops will be a good host. which is the Greek kind of belief that when a stranger's in your home, you welcome them in as a guest. All right, flipping over.
Wait, can I see the last page again?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I went too fast. My bad.
It's fine.
So he said at the end, Odysseus is trying to say, will you give us warm welcome? Will you give us a gift?
A little bit more up.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. Cyclops sees the men. You're
Yep.
good.
All right. So he's hoping that the Cyclops will be a good host and help them and allow them to move on. The sort of host that gives strangers that the Greek custom. Respect the gods, my friend. We're suppliants at your mercy. So he's begging that basically he gives them, treats them as guests. Zeus of the strangers guard all guests and suppliants. Strangers are sacred. Zeus will avenge their rights. So he kind of threatens the Cyclops and says, you should treat us as good hosts, or Zeus is going to avenge us, which the Cyclops is going to laugh at here. But stranger, he grumbled back from his brutal heart, you must be a fool, stranger, or come from nowhere, telling me to fear the gods or avoid their wrath. We Cyclops never blink at Zeus and Zeus's shield of storm and thunder, or any other blessed god. We've got more force by far. So he almost even threatens the gods himself and says, we are as strong as the gods. Okay? I'd never spare you in fear of Zeus's hatred, you or your comrades here, unless I had the urge. But tell me, where did you moor your sturdy ship when you arrived? Up the coast or close in? I'd just like to know. So he's trying to get him. So the Cyclops is trying to do what? What is he trying to get Odysseus to tell him? Yeah, where's the ship? Yeah, Cyclops is trying to find Odysseus's ship, which would lead basically Odysseus, the Cyclops, to kill his men. So he laid his trap, but he never caught me. No, wise to the world, I shot back in my crafty way. My ship, Poseidon, god of the earthquake, smashed my ship. He drove it against the rocks at your island's far cape. He dashed it against the cliff as the winds rode us in, and I and the men you see escape a sudden death. So Odysseus lies. He lies. Not a word in reply to that. The ruthless brute lurching up, he lunged out his hands toward my men and snatched two at once, raping them on the ground. So raping them means to hit them on the ground. So smash them. He knocked them dead like pups. Their brains gushed out all over, soaking the floor and ripping them limb from limb to fix his mill. He bolted them down like a mountain lion, left no scrap, devoured entrails, flesh and bones, marrow and all. We flung our arms to Zeus. We wept and cried aloud, looking out at his grisly work, paralyzed, appalled. But once the Cyclops had stuffed his enormous gut with human flesh, washing it down with raw milk, he slept in his cave, stretched out along his flocks, and with my fighting heart, I thought at first. So hold on right there. So what does the Cyclops do kind of out of nowhere? He starts doing what? He turns on them and does what? Eats the men. He eats two of the men. So the Cyclops eats two of the men. Okay, so kind of out of nowhere and in a very gruesome way. Okay, hits them against the ground and tears them apart and just eats them. I thought at first to steal up to him, draw the sharp sword at my hip, and stab his chest where the midriff packs the liver. I groped for the fatal spot, but a fresh thought held me back. There a stroke, we'd finish ourselves as well. So he could probably kill the Cyclops, right? But what happens if he kills the Cyclops? He can't get out of the cave. How could we, with our bare hands, heave back that slab he set to block his cavern's gaping maw? So we lay there groaning, waiting dawn's first light. Okay? So Odysseus has found himself in a very, very tough situation, stuck, awaiting his death. So we're going to end section 3 there. We don't have any reading roles or activity to do with this reading. So we'll come back to that, kind of going to finish out what happens with the Cyclops tomorrow. So we're going to head back over. Sorry, I did go fast. So Cyclops eats 2 of the men at the bottom of 220. And then just at the very top there, and I can kind of show like this. It just circle that in that he's waiting dawn's first light. At that very last sentence, just waiting to come up with a plan to try to survive. Okay? So we got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing on Thursday with the fire drill and with a little bit longer reading than I'd expected. I'm giving you all a little bit more time on no red ink, so on and so forth. We're going to just look at the under civilization materials. We've been talking about the Greek religion and going back to our project. One of the things we have to look at for our hero is how religion plays a role. And in Odysseus, we see that, or in the Odyssey, we see that religion is playing a role in Odysseus' mind constantly. He's saying, is the gods help me? Are they hurting me? He's threatening the gods, he's threatening the Cyclops with the gods and things like that. We see how it plays a role. So we're going to look at this assignment, Civilization Religious Research Workshop. And I had said, let's take a look at it and then we'll talk about it. And it says due yesterday. That's incorrect. I'll fix that. But what you want to do is it says open the document template linked below and then submit the document and complete the work explained on the document. Okay? So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and open up the document. So everybody should go into Echo, open up that document, get it submitted. And if your internet's not working over there, that's okay for now, because we're just going to look at this, and then y'all can open it up on Thursday, and we'll really start getting into it. So looking at this assignment, let me put my thing over here. So what we're going to be talking about is world religion, okay? And religion has been a part of history in many facets, okay? And it's impacted every civilization's history. It's impacted billions upon billions of people. So we're going to look at world religion today, and then we're going to take a step later to look at religion and history and things like that. So first off, we have a definition here. Let's look at this together. Religion can be explained as a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe. Okay? So in that first sentence, we're talking about that religion can explain why things happen and give a purpose to people. Okay? Especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies. Meaning that each religion has kind of a creation story. Okay? A way in which humans and the world were created. And usually that is through a superhuman ability. Not like a Superman or a Spider-Man or something like that, but like a god or goddesses or gods that created the world and created the universe, usually involving devotional and ritual observances like going to church or to a mosque or to religious services, and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. So this moral code being the rules, okay? And in the Odyssey, we see that there is this moral code of like taking care of guests and being respectful and giving to the gods and things like that. So there's this way to conduct ourselves in human affairs. We already talked about these two terms, monotheism and polytheism. So monotheism is the belief in one God, so mono, and polytheism is the belief in many gods. Now, today, if we look down here, I'll show this first. There are an estimated 4,300 different religions in the world, okay? So there are thousands of different religions, and each main religion, like Christianity or Islam or Buddhism, Judaism, each have their own religions underneath of it, okay? So we're kind of looking at this, although there's 4,300 religions, we're going to look at kind of the main religions throughout the world. So I looked at this the other day, and this information comes from the CIA World Fact Book. So U.S. government fact book on religions. So this is an estimate, obviously, not exact, but close to the numbers. So 31% are Christians, 24% are Islamic, 16% are unaffiliated or non-religious. This is the fastest group that's growing in the world. As far as religious groups go, or non-religious groups, are people that are not affiliated with a religion. 15% Hinduism, just about 7% Buddhism. 0.2%, a very small amount. 0.2% is Jewish faith or Judaism. But this is important in our history of the world studies because we'll see the Jewish people coming up in history. And then 6.5% other faiths, okay? And that's where you'll see the other 4,000 faiths is a very sprawled out amount. And this is an interesting map. You kind of zoom in here. You can see the blue, the red, and yellow are all of the Christianity areas. Islam is like the green and dark brown, so that's kind of in the Middle Eastern, Northern Africa, Central Asia areas. You see Christianity is kind of North America, South America, Europe. Hinduism you see mainly in India and the regions around India. Buddhism you see in China and some Southeast Asian countries. But you can see all these different faiths on the map. What's the big takeaway on the world map? Is the world like really easily divided into different religious groups, or is it really diverse? It's very diverse. It's very mixed, okay, throughout the world. Now you see kind of like predominant areas in which you see religions popping up, but for the most part, it is very diverse, okay? So our assignment, and we got about 5 minutes left in class, so I'm just going to go over this assignment briefly, and we'll jump into this. And I know that in our Google Keep we had said this is due by Thursday, but I don't want to rush it. So we will, over Wednesday, you all don't have to do this, but you're welcome to get a jump on it and go ahead and start it. But there's a website here, thebbc.com. It's a great website because it's very neutral, and it is not going to promote one faith over another. It's just going to give you the facts and the history about that faith, okay? So the three I want you to look at specifically are the three major monotheistic, so one God, religion, which is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. So between those three, that's over half of the world population believes in those religions. And a lot of the history we're going to look at in this class has to do with those faiths, okay? So it makes sense to look at those. And I'm just having you look at facts like who is the founder, beliefs, sacred sites, stuff like that. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And this website, if I opened it up for you, is very easy to use, okay? You can see all the religions listed here, and you're welcome to look at any ones you want, but you can find Islam, Judaism, Christianity is right here. So you can see all these are available to you, and you're welcome to look at those as kind of research. So I'm going to leave that. We're going to go over to Google Keep, and I'm going to modify something on mine. So this was mine right here. I'm going to change, we can all click off of the Read Odyssey Part 2 and 3. That's done. If you finished any of the other No Red Ink, you can click that off. And then I'm going to change, kind of click on it, pop it up, and change my due date for the religious research. I'm going to change that to Thursday, which today's the 20th, tomorrow's 21st. So the 22nd, we'll change that so you know that when you come back, we'll be working on that on Thursday. So keep up with that Google Keep, and I'll even go in and change that in the workbook. So if you are good to go, you are welcome to leave the Google Meet. Be working on that assignment if you want to work ahead, and No Red Ink tomorrow, and then we'll see you on Thursday. So you're welcome to leave the Google Meet if you would like. Thank you.